Hello, good morning everybody. So this is the first day of the week. We are on the 13th of May 2019. We're going to look at our charts from the weekly point of view. Then we want to see the trades we had last week, if they're still moving the way we want them, or if there are any changes we need to make. So we'll start off with the first one. Which is Euro USD, is here. This pair, so far we've been selling. We kept recommending a sell from last week. We keep saying you're supposed to look for a sell, look for a sell, look for a sell. We want to see how the previous week's sell went. We had our level at this point. Here we had level there. The entire place was a support here. So this may not necessarily make sense because it's only at this point where we are seeing a resistance and a support, but previously the same level has not been used before. So although this was a sell, it was not a very good one. We want price now to get below the zone where we sold. It should clearly descend below, then retrace back to the same point before we can pick a sell, expecting that sell to push price even further to the lower side. So as it is at the moment, you're supposed to look for a sell, but only when the price goes below 1.1229, then retrace back to the same point. That's when you look for a sell at that point. So on the other hand, there's also this level. We have this, a very good resistance trend line. Price used it previously as a resistance, then this as a resistance, and if price can get back to it even as you speak, then this is going to be the next best place to sell from. So as it is at the moment, we took a sell, but then the price closed above. So I'd advise you get out of that sell, wait for price to reach this point, pick a sell, or if price breaks below, we wait for a retracement before we sell for the second time. So we'll move forward. GBP USD, yeah, daily chart. And the first thing what I'm seeing is that the previous day's candle, which was Friday's candle, actually closed as a pin bar. This one, this is a sell candle. But since it is below a level, price has to come back up to this point. Price has to get back up to this level. Price needs to come back up to somewhere around 1.3029. Then we'll pick a sell from that point, from this point. We expect that sell to push price even lower up to this level, up to this point. So as it is based on the pin bar we saw on Friday, which is this one, we want price to pull back up, let it come up to this level, pick a sell from this point up to around 1.2829. I mean 1.2894. On the forward chart, we have the same level holding. This is what ended up in a pin bar, this candle. Let price come back up, let it pull back up to that level, pick a sell from that point, expect the sell to push price up to around 1.2894. So if you didn't sell it, you can still sell it, but only when the price comes back to this level. And assuming it does not get back, instead it heads down, then you're going to wait for a break below this level. Let price go beyond 1.2987 like this, then retrace back to the same point before we can pick a sell, expecting the sell to push price even lower. So as it is on this side, this is a sell. In my opinion, this is a sell, just that the price has to either get to this level or retrace back to the upper one before we can pick a sell. We'll look for a sell at that point, or we'll look for a sell at this point. Insert arrows like this. So we move forward, we move to the next chart, and that should be USDJPY. USDJPY was actually a buy, and down to say why I mentioned this as a buy, we had this The most important thing I can see on this side, that on Thursday's candle, which is this one, was a buy candle. It was followed by a bullish pin bar. So the two candles mean that the price is likely heading upwards. So if you have to trade it as it is, another thing, the price gapped below where it opened, it closed the previous week. So this is a bit tricky. This is a bit tricky. Therefore, if you bought it, just remain on. But if you're not in any trade, wait for the current day scan to close above this level. Wait for it to close above 109.94 to confirm that you're continuing upwards. Something like this. So if you wake up tomorrow and then you realize that the price is above 109.94, then that's a possible sign that we are continuing up to this level, up to around 110.94. So we move forward, we move to our next chart, and that should be Brent oil. Previously on Brent oil, we were actually looking for a sell. We want to see how it went. We had our level here, there. We had our level at this point. Then we mentioned that as long as the price remains below this zone, which is this one, 72.75, 71.69, we were actually looking for a sell. So far it has gone for this first week, it went our way. The previous week it also gapped below, went our way, but then somehow it closed above. So this is still a sell, just that it's not at the correct place to sell from. We are still looking for a sell on this one. We want price to clearly come back up to the zone, somewhere in between this zone. We'll pick a sell from that point, expand that sell to push price up to either this level. We have this one as a support, either this level or the next one, which is this, or the last one, which is this. So on this chart, basically we have three lines. We have this one, we have this, and then the last one. Anytime the price approaches any of these, we look for an opposite trade. But if it breaks below, then there's a continuation. We expect price to continue even further to the direction where it has broken to. So we move forward. We move forward to our next chart, and that should be gold. If you can remember gold, last week we were looking for a sell. We want to see if that sell went as we said. We had our level there, and then this is the place. So the fact that gold actually gapped above our level means that possibly we are heading to the upper side. So if you sold it with me previously, you can exit it. You can exit this trade temporarily, and assuming you exit, then the price closes below, then this is still a sell. But if it closes above, then you're continuing upward. So my advice as it is at the moment is that you're supposed to close this sell. I'm going to do that right away. You close that sell, then wait for price to either close below 12,983.64 so that you can continue that sell, or if it closes above, then there's a sign that you're continuing upward. So as it is at the moment, following the gap above, we choose to remain flat. We're not going to do anything. Let's wait for price to either close above or close below before we can make the next move. So this is how my chart looks. We have a very good level here. Unless price clearly go below it or break above, we're not doing anything. So something like this is likely, the price is likely to get back up like this before it continues downwards. This was another thing that may happen. So the fact that it has gapped above does not mean that it will continue upwards. It has to also break above this level. This was a resistance. There is another resistance here, and then you also have this as a good resistance. In the future, if price gets to that level, that will be a very good place to look for a sell from this point. So we move forward. We move to our next chart, and that should be SP500. And on SP500 I keep mentioning a buy, but somehow the price keeps going to the lower side. We want to see what that means. There's a good resistance here. We have a resistance. The same place was used again as a resistance here. So basically, if you are looking at this as a sell place and you sold it, this was correct, you made some money. But the overall trend in this case is upwards. So whoever sold it here and is still holding on to that sell should understand that the price may head upwards at some time in the future, then retrace back before we continue upwards. So I don't recommend somebody holding this sell. In my opinion, I don't recommend to look for a sell here. I don't recommend that you should look for that sell. Instead, you should wait for price to continue up, break beyond 28.5, then retrace back to the same point before you can pick a buy at that point. So that should bring us to the end. And what I've said only means that if you sold SP500, you're supposed to wait for it to get up to this level. Wait for it to get up to this level. Wait for it here. If you sold it just by the fact that this was a resistance and you pick that sell from this point, then expect price to come back up to around 2797.5 to 2779.0, then pick a buy from that point. Expect that buy to push price up to either this level or it should break above. Then if it is true that the price has gone above, then you wait for a retracement before you can pick a second buy to the upper side. So that should bring us to the end of today's market overview. We see you again tomorrow at the same time. So Boris, I'm not saying that this sell was not a good one. What I'm saying is you're not supposed to hold it for a long time. The overall trend is upwards. The overall trend on this index is upwards. So if you sold it here the way you're saying, there is no point of holding it if the overall trend is upwards. So you may get out now, but then it may still come back up to this point. The best is to remain with the overall trend. If the trend is upwards, then look for a buy. But if the trend is downwards, then you can hold on to that sell. But this downwards is temporary. That's what I mean. So you sold it correct based on the fact that this is a resistance. You can still hold it, but only hold it up to this point. I hope that is understood. So thank you very much. See you again tomorrow at the same time.